And we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. Dr. Brian Dooley coming to you this beautiful, at least afternoon now. It was a little rainy in South Carolina earlier, but March 24th, 2021. And we've got a very special guest with us today, Dr. Gilles Lamarche from Life University, but also he is telling us about what he loves about new beginnings. Dr. Gilles, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Dooley. It's a pleasure to be with you. And yes, it is a warm, beautiful spring day here in Georgia. The cherry trees are blossoming. I mean, it's flowers everywhere, so it's pretty gorgeous. So I had the opportunity to go to New Beginnings the first time back probably a dozen or so years ago. I think that what I enjoy the most is the camaraderie. I mean, it is a group of dedicated, passionate, subluxation-based correctors type chiropractors. So it's always a fun group to be around. And obviously, they put good people on the platform that have an opportunity to share their message to keep our chiropractors, our chiropractic teams inspired about going into their offices every single day and impacting humanity. So, like I said, always a fun time to go to New Beginnings. Dr. DeBell and his crew do a great job. And the love that you feel at New Beginnings is second to none. Not that there are not other places where you can feel that level of love, but you can be guaranteed that when you go to New Beginnings, you're going to get loved on plenty. If you're not feeling loved, show up. You're going to feel it. And people are supportive. I think they've built, over the years, they've built a lot of great connections with people. So for docs that are in practice, you always have someone that can mentor you, give you some advice. And I think that that's the piece of, I guess, the New Beginnings family that is quite profound.
Yeah, the willingness to share, because we've talked with several folks about not just what you're going to learn from what people say from the stage, but the opportunities to have conversation in between the talks, and then certainly afterwards, be at the bar, the restaurant, just walking down the boardwalk. To me, that's always kind of the fun of New Beginnings, is what you're going to learn outside the seminars even.
Yeah, because I think that New Beginnings, though, doesn't end on Sunday when the seminar ends. So everything you're talking about is very powerful, obviously. The restaurants, the talks in between talks, but it doesn't end after Sunday. It's like there's a camaraderie that's built where they open themselves up to letting docs that are successful, or those that are struggling, or students, or young docs that really don't know where to go. They open that avenue where you now have people that you could email or get on a chat with or FaceTime with or call, and they'll actually be there to support you because they want you to grow. And ultimately, as you individuals grow, then the entire profession grows and has a bigger impact on humanity.
Oh, no doubt about it. I know I'm excited because it's in beautiful Asbury Park this coming May 20th through 23rd. Fun fact, in high school, I was a valet at this very hotel. So if you need me to park your car, I can do that for you because I know exactly where it goes.
That's fun.
Yeah. And so you're going to be speaking. Do you have any idea what you'll be speaking about?
Yeah, I mean, I always have an idea of, I know where my sweet spot is. And I think that what I've chosen to speak about at New Beginnings has a lot to do with purpose. Certainly what I've discovered through the phenomenal mentors that I've had in my life is that having a very clear, defined purpose for both your personal life, which becomes your foundational purpose, and for your practice, professional life, are imperative to, yes, being successful, but also imperative to just having a good time. I love to have a good time no matter what I'm doing. My roles here at Life University have expanded. I've got tons of work, if you like, that I must do, but I come to it from this purposeful place so that no matter how full the agenda is, the purpose is what drives me. So in the purpose, you discover the pleasure. It saddens me sometimes to talk to chiropractors, and I spoke to one 2 Fridays ago, actually sitting right here in my office on the campus, about living a purposeful life, to find out that he's probably had no joy in his practice for more than 2 decades. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I had hair, I would be pulling it out. And I was like, are you kidding me? I said, I don't go through a day in my life, whether when I was in practice or here at Life, that I'm not having joy. so that I'm participating in the life that I'm creating around me with a sense of joy and sometimes, honestly, almost bliss. You know, I drive on the campus Life University and I look around and I go like, wow, I get the opportunity to be here again today and serve the people on my teams, to serve prospective students, to serve faculty, whatever it might be. So I look at it as a huge privilege. And that's how I practiced. So I always saw being a chiropractor as a huge privilege, that I am actually being offered this privilege. And I want to help people discover what it's like to feel that way. Because when you learn to feel that way, and it's a teachable skill, Brian, it's a teachable skill. So when people get on that roadway of discovering their inner joy, not from Gilles' purpose, but from Brian's purpose, or John, or Sally, or Sheila's purpose, when you function in your life from your space of purpose, you create a life that maybe until then you never even knew was available to you. And that's a sweet spot for me, because I've helped a lot of docs discover their purpose, and I see how it changes their life. So yeah, I want to be a life changer. And I think that because I'm good at teaching that, that's what I actually chose to teach at New Beginnings.
Well, I think it was Mark Twain that said the two most important days of your life is the day you were born and the day that you learned why.
Yes.
And I love what you're saying, because that's not just for somebody that's been in practice 20 years and has been flat, but it's really for anybody, because no matter how old we are, how experienced we are in practice, being able to discover it and rediscover it over and over and over again, what our purpose is. I tell people all the time, I don't work. Mondays are great. I love Mondays because I get to do what I do. My weekend is not to escape from what I'm doing, but to fuel up to do what I'm doing even better. And that's why I go to something like a New Beginnings, because if you want to feel people on purpose, it's the men and women in that room by far.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. You know, you talk about to fuel up. I used to say it's just to re-energize, because I'm as energetic usually at the end of the day as I am at the beginning of the day. But yeah, you know, in the evening, like I get tired like everybody else. So we have that physical tiredness. My brain, as far as the emotional piece of me, never gets tired of being a chiropractor and doing what chiropractors do. I'm always super excited about that. But yeah, my body gets tired. So yes, the weekends are to re-energize, or really to go back to the gas station and fuel up. I've never used the term fuel up, but if you will allow me, and I'll give you credit, I love that term.
No, yeah, absolutely. That's what it is for me. And we're doing a very special, well, New Beginnings is doing a very special honor for Dr. Jay Hant, who is receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award. And from what we discussed before we got on, while you two might have been on the earth a little bit longer than I am, you're both dashingly handsome. There's no doubt about it. So you've definitely maintained your good looks. But anything you'd like to say about Dr. Hant?
Well, I'm thrilled that Jay is going to be recognized, because Jay has been a dedicated servant in the profession for decades. Not only has he served at the board at New Beginnings, he's been serving on the board at Life University for a number of years. He serves during our Life Leadership Weekends 4 times a year. He is one of the facilitators in our experiential learning during our Life Leadership Weekends. So he comes here and he literally plays the game full out. So, you know, Jay's been on the chiropractic team for 4 decades plus now, and he's still playing like a star player. So I'm really, really happy that New Beginnings has decided to honor Dr. Hant with the Lifetime Achievement Award. He certainly deserves it.
Oh, I'm super excited. And I got to know Jay because one thing New Jersey has is 24-hour diners, or at least they used to. And so hanging out after with Dr. Jay, having a pastrami sandwich, discussing a little bit of everything. And so Jay's always been super giving. So it's really nice to see that he's having some getting, which is super, super well deserved. So anything as we sign off, anything you'd like to finish with? I'll let you close the show. So we're going to let folks that want to come New Beginnings, it's May 20th through 23rd, so it's getting close. There's still registrations open, so but they're going fast. So come to www.nbchiro.com to register, and we'll see you in beautiful Asbury Park, and we'll wander around and see if we can see Springsteen.
So let's let's all realize together that there's a lot going on, and I get it. You know, people are busy, and it's important to take time to do what Stephen Covey called sharpening the saw.
Mm.
Sharpening the saw, and I guess I'll close with a little metaphor, a little story. But there was a young lumberjack and an older lumberjack who were always competing against each other. And one day, the young guy put a wager on to the old lumberjack. He said, "I bet you that today, you know, I can cut twice as many cords of wood as you can." And they put down X amount of money. Maybe it was $50. And so the old boy went to town, and you know, he started cutting down trees. The young guy did the same thing, and the young guy never stopped. He never stopped. He went for his full shift and just never stopped. At the end of the shift, they measured the amount of wood that they had cut, and the old boy had cut twice as much wood as the young guy. And the young guy says, "How is this possible?" He said, "I was observing you. You were in my line of sight." He said, "I was observing you." He said, "Many times I looked over." He said, "You were sitting down, having a cup of coffee." He said, "I never stopped. I saw you stop so many times. It's impossible. You have to have cheated." And the old boy looked at him and said, "No, son, I never cheated. But you know what? When you saw me sitting down, sipping my cup of coffee," he said, "it was actually sharpening my saw."
Mm.
So the old boy was working with a sharp saw all the time, where the young guy allowed his saw to get dull and therefore worked and worked and worked, didn't cut as many trees down. So using that metaphor in the world of business, in the world of chiropractic, in the world of entrepreneurship, we've got to take time to sharpen the saw. So when I was in practice, I took a week off every 2 months. So think about it. Every 2 months, I took a week off. And in the 2 month of summer, I took a month off during the month of July. And you say, "Well, wow, I mean, that means you were taking like 10 weeks a year of vacation." I said, "Yep."
Mm.
And in the 42 weeks that I saw patients, I saw probably 2, 3, 4 times more patients than most chiropractors who worked 52 weeks a year.
Right.
I took time to sharpen the saw. And a lot of my saw sharpening was not just to go lay down on the beach, which you do with your family every once in a while, but a lot of my saw sharpening was hanging out with chiropractors and talking the talk and talking philosophy and mastering our art and understanding the science and just sharpening the saw mentally, physically, and spiritually. And at an event like New Beginnings, you can experience all of that if you so choose.
Mm.
So it's an open invitation, as Dr. Dooley was saying, an open invitation to show up. And I'll tell you what, things only happen when you show up. Not much happens when you sit in your armchair at home and do nothing. So stretch a little bit, whether it's financial, stretch a little bit, and get yourself on a bus, on a plane, in a car, but just get there. And I'll tell you, if you have some difficulties getting registered, find a colleague who's going, who probably would be willing to help you,
Mm-hmm.
who might even offer that you share a room with them, whatever it might be. That's how I started going to events. I shared rooms with people all the time. And now I can book my own room. And if somebody said, "Hey, I have no place to stay," I'll get a room with 2 beds instead of a room with 1 bed. And that's the camaraderie that you can build. That's the family feeling that you can build. And you leave inspired with a plan on what you can do to tap into the best version of yourself to really impact your community.
Awesome. Well, if you don't want to go after that, then you need to check your pulse. So I'm pretty sure registrations are going to flood. So Dr. Stephanie Dubell, be ready. The phone's getting ready to ring. And so thank you so much for taking time out of your day to chat about New Beginnings. And I look forward to hanging out with you in Asbury Park in a couple of months.
Yes, sir. I will be there, ready to rock and roll with everybody there.
Take care.
Thanks, Dr. Dooley. Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.